Shalom, shalom. I'm gonna start out this video by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elder bishops, a great millstone that rule well, that teach well, while learn this truth. 100% according to the Bible. Also want to say shalom to the elect and shalom to the Akwaf, which are the sisters that are sincere in your children. Shalom. And then today's video is going to be touching on the importance of prayer. Because we know prayer is very important in this thing of ours, brothers. You know, we need prayer for all things. You know, when we're going through tough situations, you know, when all hell feel like it's up against us and our back is against the wall, we can always send up prayers to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, you know, which, you know, the Lord is going to hear the cries of the righteous, you know, as it tells you in this precept. I'm going to get that, right? Bear with me. This is Psalms chapter 34. And I'm going to go straight to the point, verse 17. And it says, the righteous cry, and the Lord heareth and delivered them out of all their troubles. And that's what we're doing when we're praying to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. We're begging. We're, you know, you go into that word pray, it means to beg, you know, and that's what we're doing to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. You know, we're begging the Lord to help us in our situations that we go through. Even when we're going through good times as well, we just always pray to the Lord, you know, for protection when we walk outside of our house, knowing that, you know, the world that we're in is very evil, very polluted, very corrupted. You know, so we just try to have our best to, you know, pray that the Lord can have his power or his mercy upon us, man, you know, in this world that we're in. So I'm going to go into a precept just touching on how we have brothers on the right hand side, the angels, Raphael to be exact, you know, as it tells you in this precept, you know, that ultimately hears the prayers of the righteous and takes them before the throne of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. This is Tobit chapter 12, verse 15. It said, I am Raphael, one of the seven holy angels, which present the prayers of the saints and which go in and out before the glory of the Holy One, right? So we have a brother on the right hand side that goes to and fro throughout the throne of Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai just to deliver prayers of the saints, man. You know, so that's letting us know that all of our prayers and the things in which it is we're crying to the Heavenly Father and His Son about, that they're ultimately being heard, man, you know. Especially when you're doing the things that is pleasing unto Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, there's nothing that he won't hold back from you. You know, there's nothing he won't give unto you, long as you're sincerely seeking after him, man. You know, that you're wholeheartedly in this thing, right? And I'm going to go to a precept just touching on the importance of prayer. This is Philippians 4:6. It said, be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, right? With thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. And that's what we got to do. We got to always allow whatever it is that's holding us back, whatever it could be we're dealing with. You know, you can't allow pride or any of those things, you know, stop you from praying to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, no matter how you may feel, no matter how low you may be feeling at one point. You got to always go to the Lord, man, you know, and lay it all down to him. Let him hear, because ultimately that's what the Lord wants to do. He wants to hear our prayers. He wants us to beg him and cry unto him, man. You know, that's why he's there. You know, Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai. He wants his people to, you know, plead unto him, you know. And I'm going to go to another precept just touching on that, man, because we got to be praying always, you know, not just when things are good, not just when things are going bad for us. We got to constantly be in that spirit of prayer, you know. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:17. It says, pray without ceasing, right? And I'm going to look at that word ceasing for edification's sake, because we got to be praying always, man, you know, not just, you know, when things are looking on the bad for us, or, you know, we're just having too much that we can't ultimately deal with. No, you got to get into that spirit. And I'm speaking first and foremost to myself, of course, but we all got to get into that spirit of praying to the Lord continuously, man, nonstop, right? And that word ceasing refers to or means stopping or coming to an end. It encompasses the cessation of various actions, emotions, and even physical phenomena, right? And let me go down because I don't, right? Ceasing means, all right, so basically, you know, you want to bear with me. There's Khan, that's a good one right there. It said, rejoice always, giving thanks in all circumstances, right? Like I just said before, you know, we got to pray without ceasing, brothers and sisters. That means when we're going through hell, when we're going through good times, and we're feeling good and joyful and our spirits are high, even when our spirits are low, man, you know, we always just got to be in that spirit of constantly thanking Yahweh Hashem Yahushua for everything, because we always got to remember that, it can be way worse, man. The situations that we do go through on a day-to-day, the little hell that we do catch, we know that it can be way worse, man. So we got to constantly, believe in Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, trust in him, pray to him, and seek him first and foremost, man. And that's our way of showing the Lord that we're seeking him, by praying unto him, man. We got to pray for all things in these times, And I'm going to go to a precept right here, right? Just touching on the importance of praying, man, because we got to continue to always be in that spirit. This is, I'm going to go to the book of Romans real quick. Bear with me. All right, Romans chapter 12, right? Romans chapter 12, and I'm going to start at verse, all right, this is Romans chapter 12, and I'm going to start at verse, the point is at verse 12, but I'm going to start at verse 10. It said, be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another, not slothful in business, fervent in spirit, serving the Lord, right? And when you're fervent in spirit, that means you're hot for the Lord. You're hot for Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. So you're going to always be praying. You're going to always be doing certain things in which it is to get your relationship closer to the Heavenly Father and His Son. You're going to do the things that are necessary as a believer to do to get closer to the Lord. And you're going to do that by your actions. And what is the actions? Praying, reading the scriptures, doing things like that, right? So this is verse 12. The point, it said, rejoicing in hope, patient in tribulation, continuing instant in prayer, right? So you want to be continuing instant in prayer, praying always, basically, the same thing as I read in Thessalonians, praying without ceasing, man. This is the spirit that we got to ultimately come in, And I'm going to go to Ephesians chapter 6, because that's part of our armor, man, praying always to the Lord, and I'm actually go to that. This is Ephesians chapter 6, and I'm going to get straight to the point. Right? Verse 18, because that's part of our armor, our protection, man. That's part of our weapons that the Lord have given us. Prayer, right? It says, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints, right? So guess what? That's what we got to continue to do, brothers and sisters, no matter what it is, no matter what we're going through, no matter what we're experiencing. We got to continue to always have faith in the Lord and to continue to pray, man. And if you're not praying a lot, go to the Lord and ask him for that spirit to put upon you to pray more, man, to pray for longer periods of time, stand in prayer for minutes or hours if you have to. We can never not give enough time to the Lord, man. We got to be seeking the Lord more in these times anyway, trying to build up our relationship and be closer to the Lord. And we do those things through our prayers, through, begging the Lord to continue to have his spirit upon us for us to do the things in which it is that are pleasing unto him, man. We do all of that through prayer. We protect ourselves spiritually, all of that, through prayer, man. So prayer is very important, brothers and sisters. And, we can never do too much of it. You want to continue to be in that spirit of praying, to the Lord, man, So, yeah, that's pretty much everything I had to say with today's video. Lord's willing to be edifying. Just a little quick hit through the spirit, of prayer, man, and how important it is, So I pray this video be edifying to you, brothers and sisters that come across it. To the next time, I'm going to say shalom to the elect.